today and tomorrow. I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. That one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are tuned in to another episode of Live with the Coopers. And we are here on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. I am one of your hosts, Candace Cooper, and with me, of course, is...
Brandon Cooper.
Let's unmute his mic. There he goes.
Brandon Cooper.
All right, and we are ready, you guys, to have a really good episode today, especially because it is Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. We do have a special episode in terms of talking about his dream. But before we get there, I know there has several people who are wondering how Brandon Cooper feels on the day after. What are we going to call it? The day after the Cowboys' defeat.
Overreaction Monday.
Overreaction Monday.
Y'all want to see a dead body?
Yeah.
They're waiting to hear.
This is a rough one. First of all, the Cowboys, they lost yesterday to the Green Bay Packers, 48-32. I actually was looking at, some things. Jordan Love came out yesterday, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, and played like it was like Aaron Rodgers had never left. 16 for 21, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones ran the ball all over us. 21 carries for 118 yards, 5.6 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. And this Dobbs kid, wide receiver, 6 receptions for 151 yards, 25.2 yards per catch average with 1 touchdown. I mean, they just kicked us all over the field. Our defense did nothing. Dak, we choked. I honestly believe this year when I said that this was our year. I believe that because I felt like our defense could carry us this year. I really did. I felt like our defense would step up and do what they had to do this year. And so I went into that game yesterday thinking...
Make third down more manageable.
That game thinking we were ready. I went into that game thinking that it won't be easy because they can run the ball and we're not built on defense to stop the run. But I did feel like we would do enough. But...
A bullshit.
We did not stop the run. So, we went from this being the best year. Guys, we have 9 all-pro players this year. 9 all-pro players. Not just Pro Bowl. 9 all-pro players. That, for y'all that don't know, when you say all-pro, that means they make two teams. They make a first team All Pro and a second team All Pro. First team All Pro is the top 11 players. If you was gonna make a starting offense, okay, baby. If you was gonna make a
I
starting
have
offense,
no idea what you're talking about.
okay. Well, if you was gonna make a starting offense, you'll take the best quarterback out the whole league. You'll take the best running back. You'll take the best lineman at each position.
Understood.
The best receivers, and make that starting 11.
Okay.
Okay, that's all pro. That means you're starting. If you had to make a team, so they had 9 players. They make 2 teams like that. They make 2 offenses and 2 defenses. They make a first team and they make a second team. The Cowboys had between those 2 teams 9 players to make all pro this year, and we lost to a team that came in as the 7th seed.
Wow.
Everything was set up for us.
Wow.
Everything that I thought, other than the fact that the defense, I realized in the middle of the season that the defense wasn't as good as I thought they were going to be this year. But Dak was playing so good that I was like, okay, hey, we kind of on another level because, hey, now we got our quarterback playing at a level where he can carry us at least to the NFC Championship.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
So, now I have the Gazoo over my head. If y'all don't know what Gazoo is, the Great Gazoo, look up the Great Gazoo. Google him tonight, YouTube him. The Great Gazoo, he was on the Flintstones many times, and he would come in, the little green Martian, and he would come in and he would say, "Come here, dum-dum. Come here, dum-dum." Yeah, that's what I feel like. Jimmy, you're right. Playing the run with 6 DBs, can't do it. I think the report was they had like 56 offensive plays, and we had 6 DBs on the field and like 48 of them, which is it's ridiculous. Well, I've questioned our defensive coordinator all year. When it comes to making adjustments, and so at this point, guys, we got plenty of time to talk about the Cowboys. It's going to be a long off season. I feel like a lot of heads are going to roll. So we'll see what's happening. But that is it for my Cowboys until the draft. We'll be looking to see if anything's going to happen with these coaches. And if anybody's going to get fired. But that'll be it for that. Kevin said it, so it was Cam right?
What did Cam say?
What did Cam say? Let me know what Cam said, Kevin.
I want to answer this question
Jimmy.
about, am I a Cowboys fan?
Hell no.
I'm not a huge football fan, to be honest with you. But, because I have a person here in the house that's like a Cowboy fanatic, I guess I do cheer them on. But honestly, I'm more of a Super Bowl halftime fan. And, of course, I enjoy the Colorado Buffaloes. I just joined the bandwagon this year.
Okay.
But if I had to pick an NFL team, of course it would be the Cowboys. They're here in Dallas. Why wouldn't I? I mean, they're in Texas. Why wouldn't I support them?
Well, I am. My sports will move on to something else. Now that the Cowboys are out, that's the difference with me, guys. There's a lot of Cowboy haters out there that enjoy, seeing the Cowboy fans in misery. The difference with me though, and with y'all is, once my team is done, I'm honestly good. I'm moving on. I go fishing, and start focusing on track. So, I wish all y'all that still have a team in the mix, still have a dog in the hunt. I wish all y'all luck, but I am officially done. My horns are done. My Cowboys are done. We'll move on to Horns basketball for me.
So
right?
what's your prediction for Super Bowl? Do you have one, or do you care?
I honestly don't care. But
Okay.
But right now, if I had to make a prediction, I would go Ravens. I would go Baltimore Ravens. I hate to even say it, but
I know
right
you
now
don't.
the 49ers possibly. But I'm not gonna lie to you, the way things are looking, I don't know, but we'll see. But Ravens and 49ers right now.
Okay.
I mean, I'll go with the 2 1 seeds.
Okay.
So that's that.
All right.
We're done with sports. Shout out to my Cowboys. We still them boys. We still them boys.
Well, maybe next year.
We still them boys.
We'll be able to hear that you guys are ready to go to the Super Bowl. So
We still, well, yeah, we'll see what happens next
we'll
year.
focus
We
on
got to
that.
get the right. We got to get the right coach in here. We got to switch this thing up. Yeah.
So, you guys, for me, in terms of the news that I wanted to talk about, of course, is this weather. Oh my gosh! If you live in the state of Texas, you know that we're experiencing some weather that we're Texans. Okay, we believe we're heat. You know, it's heat. We are prepared for 90 degrees, but of course, once it starts hitting on the teens and below, we're ready to shut down. So, today I know that it was, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday here in the city of Austin. However, I know there were several celebrations that actually were canceled, as it was possibly throughout the state. But, we tomorrow are expecting even colder temperatures. We may even have some a little precipitation. I know in parts of Texas they've already received snow. I heard that there was even snow flurries in Houston, of all places. If you live in Houston, you're on the line, hey, tap in. Our daughter, who is in college in Dallas, of course, she sent us pictures of snow. It was snow all on the ground in Dallas. So we didn't really get a lot of snow here. We had snow flurries, nothing really stuck, but we did have some icy conditions, I would say. So we don't plan on, I think we're in probably until things get a little warmer. Cooper's looking. Oh, you got to go to work. Okay.
Later on tonight.
Okay. You said I just got off of work and haven't seen any in the Houston area. Apparently it's supposed to,
Hey,
I
Miss
know.
Jamie.
Hello. Thank you for tuning in with us. So ERCOT, who is our grid, Texas, of course, does things different. So we have a grid that's separate from the rest of the United States. And so ERCOT has asked us to conserve energy between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. for tomorrow. Several local schools, please tune in to your news media because contact your schools because several local schools either have a 2-hour delay or some of them have already made the decision to be off. So wanted to just share that. I am seeing some folks in here from Houston. They said it's true. We have scattered snow, but freezing rain mostly in the Houston area. So be safe. You guys be careful. This weather is nothing to play with. You never know when there's black ice, So if you have to travel, just make sure you are safe, Brandon Cooper. I didn't know you planned on getting out tonight.
Hey, man, we got work to do over here. It don't stop. 7 days a week.
Oh, my.
Could be young Enterprises. We clean so you don't have to. That's what we do. We take care of business, you know what I'm saying?
So those of you who follow me on social media, today I attended a celebration for Texas Empowerment Academy, which is a charter school. A charter school located here in the city of Austin. The charter school has been around since 1998, so they have been around for a while. And 26 years, that is, almost 30. And the school started out in a very small house. Shout out to Houston-Tillotson University. For those of you who are familiar with where HT is located in Austin, there was a small white house located right across the street from Houston-Tillotson, and that is where the Texas Empowerment Academy was born. And they went from the house over to Ebenezer Church, and then they transitioned over to Northeast Austin to three different buildings, actually, that they were in. And now they have raised, through private donations, enough money to create and build a 81,000 square foot facility in what they're calling now Upper East Austin. You guys, I am so incredibly proud of Superintendent Nowlin and Mr. Muhammad and Chaslin Rolette and Miss White and Miss Muhammad. I mean, the names go on and on and on. Elias and the individuals that have been working there over the years to provide quality education for these young people. I worked at Texas Empowerment Academy over 20 years ago, and I have now returned to assist them. And yes.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
to assist them in their next chapter. And y'all, I am all smiles because I wanted something meaningful, and goodness, I tell you what, I believe in prayer, and when you manifest and pray, God truly knows how to answer those prayers. And it wasn't anything that I was that I had on my calendar. I'm just going to be transparent. I went over and met with Mr. Nallen because we were talking about a cleaning contract for the school. And before I know it, we're negotiating, the opportunity for me to come over and to join the team. And I did. I joined the team on last week. And I'm going to tell you guys, when I walked into the brand new building, and this is before they moved in and construction was still happening, tears just started to kind of come down my face, because to see that they started from this little bitty house, a little bitty house in East Austin, which, if you're not familiar, East Austin is very rich and culturally rich community for where most African American folks typically live. Now, gentrification has occurred. Most black folks have now moved outside of that space, but it is an area that we lived. So Texas Empowerment Academy was a charter school that grew out of East Austin, and now to have I don't think you guys understand the significance to get private donations to build an 81,000 square foot facility on 20 acres of land is just phenomenal. And I walk through the hallways now to see, now that they moved in on last week, and to walk through the hallways and to be able to see us on the walls, to be seen, to be able to walk through the halls and to see the teachers and the children enjoying this space has been an amazing journey for me just in the last several days. So I said all that because that's where I spent my day. Y'all, I don't leave in the cold. This is what my grandmother referred to as arthritis weather, okay? And once you become a certain age, above 40, you get kind of stiff going out in this type of weather, okay? I understand what she meant now by this arthritis weather.
My grandma called it pneumonia weather.
Pneumonia weather, when you got a little precipitation outside.
Yes, Lord.
And you got coldness. We typically sit down somewhere.
Yes, Lord.
This event that we attended today had roughly probably about 200 people in attendance. And that just goes to show like how excited we are about
to have our own.
Our own.
Come on now.
To have our own.
Gotta let that play.
Yeah.
War cry, baby. War cry. That's some of the things that I think we're gonna talk about tonight.
That's right.
The importance of the next moves that we have to make in order to continue to live out this dream of MLKs and take it to the next level. Absolutely.
So there introduces our topic for today, building on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. Yes, thank you, Kaylee. Kaylee actually, shout out to Kaylee and Mark Perkins. They actually attended today's event. She says it was beautiful to see. I'm excited to start Marley there in 3 more years. Shout out to the Perkins family. They walked through the halls today, and you don't typically walk in the school hallways and to be able to see in the classrooms books that talk about hair, and specifically black hair. Books that are talking about, and these are books that are age-appropriate books that are talking about African American history. And, I walked through this tour. I gave the Perkins a tour of the school, and they were just, truly amazed at how they felt seen. And that is an experience that a lot of us don't get. Going through your kinder through 12th grade experience, sometimes some of us may be the only people of color in the entire school. And if not that, you're limited. I don't know. Now, Coop, you grew up in Crockett, which
CKT stand up.
I oftentimes even a little jealous of that because you guys had the same elementary, middle, high
Yeah.
throughout the whole time. Was it pretty diverse?
Yeah, it was. At that time, it was mostly black and white. I think at that time, a lot of the Hispanics kind of stayed to themselves. Then it wasn't as many Hispanics at that time. Mostly black and white. But we had a lot of we had diversity though.
Yeah.
We had diversity.
So me, born and raised in Austin, that was not my experience. I mean, typically I grew up in Austin ISD schools, and in order for, there to be diversity in the schools, we had to be bused across town. And, even being bused across town, you're talking about less than 5% population of African Americans in high school. Now, I was fortunate enough to attend a middle school to where I was not, the only person of color. And I had a diverse experience at an elementary level. But in high school, I was definitely not just a minority, but I mean, it was very few of us at Stephen F. Austin High School, in which I graduated.
Kaylee said the best thing was to see our history on the walls, and it was more than just MLK and Rosa Parks.
Yep.
And that's what me and Candace was talking about today. Shout out Kaylee for that. We was talking about exactly that. The fact that when it comes to our history, our culture, everything that comes with African Americans and all that our ancestors have accomplished, you're talking about a very few people that get noticed and taught in public schools. It's the bare basics. Like you said, it's Rosa Parks, it's MLK, some slim work on Malcolm X. Definitely don't go into no details.
Oh, definitely not.
They're not gonna go too deep with it. So you're I mean, maybe a little bit on Carver and different people like that, but you're not talking about W.B. Du Bois. You're not getting deep with Frederick Douglass. There are so many people that were key to our history and getting to the point to where we're at now, that you're not covering any of those people. Coming up in high school, if it wasn't for my people and it wasn't for programs that we had in church and stuff like that, you would have been, based on what we got in school, I would have been led to believe that, nobody was fighting for us other than like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And that's not, we all know that's not true, but it's because the coverage of our history is extremely limited in public schooling. So to have a situation like, a place like Texas Empowerment Academy that's going to go deeper into our history is essential to our kids, and understanding what they came from, especially now when our kids are so spoiled, so entitled, and lack the responsibility that a lot of us might have grew up with, because they're being raised different. They're being raised in a different time. And the parents are so busy working, grinding, trying to do things for themselves, that they're utilizing different things like iPads and computers, and gamings and just different things to basically babysit the kids. And they're not doing the things that, some of us might have grew up with, the programming that some of us might have grew up with that focuses on those things. So see a place like Texas Empowerment Academy where our history is going to be covered. That's a key element when you talk about our kids truly understanding what our people went through. And I want to say, when I say that, when I talk to a lot of black kids, that includes my daughter, because I was big on my daughter sitting back watching Roots with me. I made her watch it.
Yeah.
I made her watch it. She half-ass paid attention, just being real with you. She didn't want to see it. But, I've heard from her, and I heard from many kids and even adults that it is hard for them to watch slavery and how people were treated. I have watched every slave movie I can get my eyes on because I constantly want to be reminded of what our people went through so we can have the opportunities that we have now. And that way, I will remain humble through all that we go through now. I do not complain. Like I said, I said I gotta go to work tonight. I'm not complaining about going to work. I get to go to work tonight. There's a difference, and I'm working for my family. I'm not working for somebody else for free or for scraps. And that's what our ancestors. That's some of the stuff that our ancestors had to do, working and knowing that they wasn't getting nowhere further today and tomorrow than they were 3 weeks ago. They weren't making any advances. They weren't going to have anything to leave to their children. They weren't going to have anything to leave to their grandchildren. And so we're in a different situation now, and it all starts because of the people that we're talking about today, like MLK.
Absolutely. And I think in today's topic, in terms of building on MLK's dream, I guess the question is, how do we, as a community, build on Dr. Martin Luther King's dream? We are no longer segregated. The Civil Rights Act has passed, which he, of course, and he and several other people were critical in making sure that we had the same rights and freedoms as African Americans as everyone else. And so now that we're in 2024, what is it that we need to do as a community?
2023 went so fast, man. That sounds funny even saying that right
really
now.
Does.
2024. I gotta give you saying it because I promise you I would have said 23.
15 days into 2024.
And it's already rolling, halfway through January.
Man, let me tell you, every day is something else going on. Yeah. So we halfway in at the end. But what is it that we, as a community, should be doing? From our family standpoint, from our just as our careers, as entrepreneurs, as stewards in the community, what is it that we should be doing now to build on MLK's dream? Because here's the deal: the thing when he gave the speech and all of the other speeches that he talked about, we were in a different place than where we're at now. The rights we are our ancestors' greatest dream. We're here now. So what is it that we should be doing now to build upon that? And you and I talked about, Coop.
Let me know when you're ready for me to get the
I'm ready.
Whistle talk.
Ownership.
Let me know when you're ready to get the whistle talk, because
ownership.
I'm ready. I'm gonna light this thing up real quick when it comes to that question she just asked. Let me know.
And again, this is an engaging conversation. We want to hear from you guys.
We need all y'all. Like, share, subscribe.
We want to hear from
everyone.
And
we want to hear y'all's opinions. I already see one from Kevin Cofield.
Kevin Cofield.
He is absolutely right, and that's where I'm going with it.
Kevin Cofield is saying, shout out to Cofield. Let's see here.
That's exactly where I'm going with it, Cofield.
He is saying, if it will, we as people have to stop hating like our oppressors.
Come on now.
Pamela Wade, my mother, vote. What else? Let's hear from you. You guys, let me tell you something. This is so critical. You know, Coop, the thing that I hate to see is us fighting over scraps. What I hate to see is for us to not be building our own and constantly fighting over things that rightfully belong to us. Yeah. I think that we spend so much time trying to fight over the little things that people give us, as opposed to trying to work together to build and to own the things that we desire, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think that's the reason why that building means so much. You know, because our children are being miseducated. When our children are not knowing their history and they're not knowing all of American history, they are not being educated. And so to see in east on the east side of 35, a school that is being built, y'all heard me say by donations. And let me be very clear. The people that donated the money did not look like us.
Come on now. Come on now.
The people that insured
the bulk of it.
the bulk of the money
Come on now.
that was donated in order to build that school on 20 acres of land did not come from people that looked like us.
Shout out to them white people that did it.
And why not?
Shout out to them. Shout out to them.
Because we're not owning anything. We haven't built that wealth within our families. And it has a lot to do with the fact what we were owed reparations, which we never received. Okay, let's be clear. But we, of course, started at an extreme disadvantage. So now we've created that crabs in the bucket mentality to where we are fighting for the pennies as opposed to working together to build.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Scoop?
There is no, and let me go on and lean forward here. There is no race that hates on one another as much as black people. There's no race. There's no race that hates on each other as much as black. And look here, and I know white people are pushing in business every day and they grinding and they trying to get it, and it's cutthroat in their world too. But there is nobody, like Candace just said, that hates on each other over pennies. In the grand scheme of things, guys, the most I know we're excited about this little chunk of money that we're bringing home monthly, but most of y'all guys, y'all bringing home enough money to live month to month, to put up 6 months of savings. Some of y'all are doing well enough to put up a year or 2 years of savings. Good for you. But the majority of us guys, if we're fighting and hating on one another, we're hating on each other over the like she said, the scraps. And if we get to a point where we can kind of put a couple of things together to actually make those scraps start to look like a solid meal or a solid earning, boy, you got people coming all out the woodworks trying to knock you down.
Oh, absolutely.
You got your own people coming out the woodworks trying to knock you down. You got your own people. I'm hearing stories where my men, my African American black men, y'all better be careful out there, because they sending that thing in there. They sending tail in there to take you down. I'm hearing the stories. They sending women in to catch you slipping, because they know that if anything will get you, it's that thing. It's that opposite sex. And so they sending people in there to get you caught up in a situation where they can get rid of you. When you finally start to make some moves, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, P. Diddy going through it now. I mean, we got several, but it's going on at a lower level. It's going on a local level as well. When you finally get to a point, we see this all the time, where you can make some real noise. I didn't hear this come out about Bill Cosby, for example. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kim. When they said something about Bill Cosby possibly looking into buying NBC.
Yeah, he was trying to purchase a network.
When they talked about him buying one of those main channels, those mainstream channels, oh my God! All of a sudden, all kind of women came out the woodworks to take him down.
Yeah,
and so, and hey, black men, look, we put ourselves in those situations. That's why I've cut it for Obama and LeBron James so much. I tell Candace that all the time, because I even honestly never would have believed that a black man could have that much power as Obama and that much power as a LeBron James and not get caught up in some kind of scandal from his past or present. You know, I mean, luckily, knock on wood, praying for those guys. We have not heard nothing major about those guys, and I think they were amazing examples of black men, still are, of black men, black family men that are doing things not only in their profession, but in their communities. You know, LeBron has built schools and is sending all these people to school, and I think it's amazing. So what are we doing now to take MLK's dream, because his dream has been accomplished as far as where they were at that time in society and where we are now? Oh man, hands down, his dream has been accomplished in my opinion. You know, in my opinion. But now, I know that if he was alive now, or if he could talk to us now, he would be telling us what's next. You know?
Right.
Now that y'all have come to a better place than we were at, now y'all got to take this to the next level. And in my opinion, it starts with us. It starts with us looking out for one another. It starts with us coming together to take care of each other. It starts with us being able to celebrate each other, one another. We have to be able to celebrate the fact that somebody here has success. And we have to have the W.E.B. Du Bois approach. You know, when one of us gets out, when one of us makes it, when one of us rises and becomes part of that 10%, that talented 10.
That talented 10.
When one of us becomes that person, then we got to now reach back and pull others forward. And if we don't bring our people forward, who will?
That's it.
That's the problem I have.
That's it.
That's the journey that we're on right now.
Right.
It's not just it cannot be just about you.
Right.
If it's about you, you're not helping our people.
That's it.
And so that's what I believe MLK would want from us now. First of all, before we talk about all these other races, and God bless the ones that are helping us. God bless them, because it's clear to me that we didn't do it without them then, and it's clear to me that we can't do it without them now. Because the other races have helped me just as much as anybody of this color right here. Matter of fact, the other races have helped me more. Let's just be 100. They have helped me more. So, with that being said, I can't ignore the fact that when it comes to trying to build ourselves up as a race, we at times are our own worst enemy.
Absolutely. And not only are we our worst enemy, but you said it. I'm going to get mine. And as long as me and my family okay, we're all good. The one thing that MLK preached, and he preached all the time, is that you have to be a part of the community. There is a within all of us, you have to be also a community steward. And if we've given up on community and we've given up on village, and we have the mentality of we're just going to take care of me and mine, then how in the world do you expect for us to build up on the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King? I'm also going to take it a little further. I know my mom mentioned voting. And voting has been a big deal for us. Because in terms of voting, how do you think policies and laws are implemented? Policies and laws are implemented in our country based on who we have as in elected in seats. And I know we always focus on the president. In 2024, we have a presidential election coming up. But at the end of the day, the local elections are more important than who is in the presidential seat. And the reason is because those local elections, those leaders in the local space.
Except for Trump.
Yeah.
Trump can't be there. Yeah. Trump can't be there. I saw Pam Twitter. I'm gonna let you get back to what you're saying, baby, because you're saying some good stuff. Yeah. But Trump can't be there. 45 can't be there. Because he is complete trash. It takes us all the way backwards with a guy like him. Because what that guy do is he rejuvenates that anger.
Yeah, the hate. The hate. Yeah.
He brings that hate back from way back in the sticks.
Yeah.
You got people way back in the sticks that ain't got a tooth in their mouth that want to come out with that hate and say why all of a sudden we should leave this country when a person like 45 gets back in office. That can't happen. That can't happen. That
It's
orange
dangerous.
peel faced this boy. I almost said something. That joker there can't get back in.
Well,
Alright?
and not only that, just as dangerous as DeSantis out of Florida. You know, I have the comment up. DeSantis is a presidential candidate. He believes that slaves benefited from slavery. There is a whole initiative out there right now saying that slaves benefited. When he made that comment, folks agreed. And what they're trying to do is erase the history. When you opened up and you talked about all the movies that you watch, you know, in terms of those
They
movies
can't erase their history with me.
that dictate slavery, what they're saying is that those are causing the kids emotional trauma. So we're going to take those types of books and that education out of our educational system because that is causing too much trauma to our children. Well, what about the trauma of those that endured it and the trauma that we still suffer because we still were not?
We still talk about the Boston Tea Party. We still talk about Columbus. We still talk about these people that took this land from the Indians and the Native Americans in the first place. Why we talk about all them? Why we out here celebrating Thanksgiving like you was celebrating this and them people didn't get their land taken and get put on reservations? Why are we celebrating that? Why are we talking about all this stuff that we talked about in social studies and U.S. history if you're not going to talk about black people and the struggles that our people were facing during that time? The struggles that our people faced, we're talking about black men getting raped by their masters and their wives. Black men. We're talking about black women getting raped. Oh, like, come on, man. We got to feel this for a moment.
Yeah.
We got to feel it for a moment. I'm going to take you there because I want to understand. I want you to understand what we're talking about. We're talking about black women getting raped by their master whenever. All you strong, independent black women that walk around here and nobody can't even say one word to you without you going in. Okay, that's fine. But you just remember your ancestors didn't have it the way you do. Your ancestors had to bow down at all times. They had to submit at all times. They had to allow a man to take their body at all times. No, don't run from these stories. You go see these stories. You watch these stories because you need to see this to understand what our people went through. I've talked to multiple people. I think Candace has a hard time watching it too. But I watch this stuff and I read on this stuff because so much hate happened right here in Texas. Right? Oh my God, there's so much happened close to my hometown. Black people were ran away from their properties. Their properties were taken over. Their properties were destroyed. Their land was taken. Their wives were taken. Their kids were raped and molested. You know, that's a time to kill. That story ain't no fake story, guys. That's real. Little girls being raped, molested, peed on, treated like scum. Our people went through that, and we're supposed to, and that's where I'm at with this whole thing when it comes to our history. I think it's important that we talk about those things. I know that it's not going to make anybody feel good to hear that stuff. But it's not supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to feel good because every time you get to thinking just about yourself. Another thing, in the church house, when we get to singing all these new songs and all that, and Lord knows there's some beautiful songs out there now. But them spiritual hymns, them Negro hymns, them old Negro hymns, I'll never get tired of those hymns because those are the hymns that got our people through. Those are the hymns that were utilized to help our people escape.
Yeah.
And and so when we get to talking about this stuff, or we just go, oh no, that's old, I don't want to sing that. No, that's a part of your history. It is essential that you sing those songs.
Yeah.
Because those songs helped your people and therefore helped you.
I'm gonna share something publicly that I haven't probably even mentioned to you. Coop, on one of those nights when you were working pretty late, I found the Ancestry.com app. And I'm looking at it now. That's why I'm looking down here at my phone. And on the Ancestry.com app, you can actually go in. I have it right here opened up. And you can go in and you can put your name. They have a tree, a family tree that you can create. And you can put your name, and you can put your parents' name, and then you can put your grandparents' name. Well, when I put in my grandfather's name, who is Oscar DeLeon Wade, what popped up, Junior, was his mother and his father. And then from there, I followed the path of his mom's tree. And what it did is it said this is potentially her mother and her father. And this is potentially their mother and their father. You guys, it did not take me long. I think it was, I'm 2 generations removed from when, of course, the tree started to take a turn. And it went from an African American face to a white face. And the face that I started to see was a face of a colonel. Then I saw the face of a senator. Then I ended up even seeing immigrants that came over from Greece. And I traced it literally that night all the way back 8 generations, starting from my grandfather. And I'm sharing this for the very first time publicly because when I looked at the photos of the women who were it was not a good feeling because those women were raped. And to find that only 6 to 7 generations removed, we were related to senators and colonels. My family was, on my grandfather, my paternal grandfather's side. And it made me really sad because now not only do I have just a thought of what happened with my ancestors, but now I have a face to it. And that face actually has a description of where she lived, where he lived, and what happened during those times. And just so happened, it actually told even a longer story about how the colonel, when they lost the war, the Civil Rights War, how the colonel was actually a multimillionaire and how he lost all of his millions and he had to free his slaves. And then those slaves ended up, of course, coming south. It told that entire story. And I sat in the bed at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and literally wept. Because now, that story, now I know and I can trace back, where at least on my grandfather's side, what happened and what that story looked like. I say that because we come from a people of resilience. All of the things that they have gone through, that it showed resilience. We are not far removed from slavery, 400 years. And from where we are now to where we were there, we've had an African American in the White House. We still have one now.
Wait, you can't just say that and move on.
Yeah.
Can't say that and move on.
No, yeah.
Can't say that and move on.
We have a black woman that is a vice president right now. And what I am saying is that now is the time in 2024. What I have found that the little of us who have been fortunate enough to build wealth, what are we really doing to build on community? And the reason why this is so critical is because legacy is so important. You know, I talk about, and Cooper, I want you to tell the story of Odell Cooper. You know, a person, and again, I don't want to go into the story, but a bus driver and a janitor.
They couldn't even read and write.
That did not have a formal education, but knew that when he passed on, he knew that his legacy was going to be with his daughters and his grandchildren. And the fact that owning property was the way to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Land owner, cattle owner, the garden. My grandpa been eating organic. My grandparents was eating organic before I even knew what the word meant. You know, they had it all. They had a home. They built from the ground up, brick home. You know, and it took them, you know, putting in work. It took them working to get there. They didn't get there overnight. It took time. You know, but they own land. He had 30-some acres of land, and that you damn right, Kevin. Land owners, they had it right. They had it right. He bought his land early, and he had it right. He had his cattle on his land. He knew what he was doing. You know, I ain't on that Jack tonight, Chris. Tonight I'm on. You know, I'm just sitting here a little while. I ain't gonna drink too much, you know, because I gotta go to work tonight. But I'm on this screwball tonight.
Yeah, that's a good drink
I'm on this screwball
winter.
tonight. This peanut butter whiskey. This is excellent for the cold weather right now.
For the cold weather.
So that's what I'm on tonight. I'm just sipping a little bit. You know, I normally don't, you know, shout out the liquor and all that on Live with the Coopers, but you know, that's what I'm on tonight. I'm sipping a little of that, not too much, because I gotta get right and go to work tonight. I'm coming to James Cole. Trust me. But my grandfather, he didn't have much, you know, when he started, just like most black people back then. But they worked, they grinded, they invested back into themselves, you know, and that's something that I have taken from him. It was instilled in me, and that's what we do now. We're investing back in ourselves by investing back into these businesses, you know, and you know, I wish I had a garden out here. Candace talk about it all the time, but you know, honestly,
one. I don't have a green thumb, but I do want to.
We just don't have time right now, but hopefully one of these days. But I mean, there were things that we saw from people like that, you know, that had faith, that believed, you know, that was in the church, that handled their business. They didn't waste no bunch of money. You know, it was a true sacrifice. When you got 5 daughters, you know, and you got grandkids, and I never remember my grandparents going out on dates. Their going out was going to the church. I never remember them going on vacations. They didn't go no vacation. They grinded. They worked. And when they had time to rest, they sit their ass down somewhere. That's what they did. They weren't going nowhere. They were saving their money. But in the end, a man that could not even read and write his own name was able to leave money, land, home, all that stuff to all of his kids. You know? That's what that man was able to do.
Ownership.
So because he owned things. So if that man that couldn't even read and write his own name, that came from that time, was able to do that, I feel like it is nonsense if this generation can't find a way to put themselves in a position to own and create things that we can leave behind to our children as well. We should be able to do it at a higher level than they did, because they did it for us. The generation for them probably didn't have anything to leave to them. The generation before that generation sure didn't have nothing to leave back, because it was taken from them. It was taken from them. But we are in a position now, guys, that we can not only build for ourselves, but build for the entire community. All our kids can be successful. All our kids can have things when we're gone. but we spend too much time fighting amongst each other. Let me look at some of this stuff that's been these comments that have been wrote here. I want to go to Jamie. I think I was on Jamie. Jamie said, we have to be receptive to others' approach, communication with us. I have learned so much, though, through so many years from many different folks, cultures. Being genuinely receptive and providing positive feedback / knowledge. When you can locate that common ground between one and another, that is a platform for understanding and emotional growth.
Yeah.
Come on, Jamie.
I want to... That common ground, that is so important, you guys. That is so important. My show that's going to be coming out, Community Compass, that is going to be the whole concept of that show. Is being able to bring on a different viewpoints in order to be able to come together in a common ground. Coop, we all have differences. All of us are very different. We all have different skill sets to bring to the table. But the idea is that there may be, and I'm going to use this as an example, but you might have 12 different track clubs in a community. But how can those track clubs come together on a common ground in order to help each other out so that we're no longer fighting over facilities? You know, that's just one thought. And I'm using that as an example because that's part of the world that we live in, right?
They're not going to do that.
Of course they not. And that's that common ground. That's the crap. Somebody mentioned Jim Crow. And how Jim Crow is still impacting us.
We coming to that.
That is extremely critical.
Hold on, we coming to that.
Right.
Kevin Cofield said the dysfunctional school system purposely reprogram our children to their history so we can forget ours. It was designed that way.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
Yes, it was. Taking certain books out of the library and all of that. Absolutely, it was by design.
Pam Way said, we are still suffering from the trauma of slavery. We are.
We are, 100%.
We are. And why? Mm-hmm. But why, though, Pam Way? Why are we suffering? You know, when I see those kind of comments, I want people to go into detail. Why do you feel like we're suffering from the trauma of slavery? I know what I believe, but I would love to see exactly why you feel like we're suffering from the trauma of slavery. Let's see here. Let's go down. Let's go to Jamie said his followers lack emotional growth. Talking about Trump. Trash. Total trash. James Cole. I think we have to let go of the past and play the game forward. You can only really be with like-minded on the same or similar understandings. As far as wealth gap, we need to stop spending unnecessary and invest more in assets that appreciate. We are consumers too much. Keep up with the Jones mentality because we are conditioned and never had a lot of favors. So instead of repeating the process to keep doubling up and tripling up, we splurge. When it was just a stepping stone to get you to the next level. At this point, we are in our own way. So, James, here's the thing. I agree with a couple of things you said there. Definitely about our spending and how we do not invest back into ourselves. I talk about that all the time. That's exactly what Candace and I are doing right now, and that's why we're not broke, but we loan, but we are invested in so many things right now that I can tell you now, when these things pop, it's gonna pop, and we're gonna be in a good spot, and that's a guarantee. Because we have invested back into ourselves. However, what you did say, I think we have to let go of the past. No, we never let go of the past. We never let go of it. I'm never letting go of it. I don't let go of the past because the past keeps me humble. And every time these kids get to act in a certain way, get to acting entitled, get to acting like, hey, they feeling themselves. You need to take them back in history and show them that babies your size when you was 6 months old, 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old were fed to gators. Okay? Y'all was set up You were set up at carnivals. Like we knocked those little clown heads down with the baseballs down. They will sit you up at carnivals and knock the babies down, the black babies down. Okay? They will use babies as bait, black babies as bait to catch crocodiles, get alligators. This ain't no joke, guys. This is real. And so to forget about the past, no, we never forget about the past. I totally disagree with you on that, James. With all due respect, I appreciate your comment, but I totally disagree with you on that because our past is too important, and our kids need to understand how far our people have come. And once they understand that, maybe they will humble themselves just a tad bit and appreciate where they are. You got to keep reminding them. It's like going to church. Just because a person is a reborn Christian, don't mean, that they don't keep praying. They don't keep, worshiping. That's why they go to church weekly, ideally. That's the way it's supposed to be set up. They go in to hear the word and encourage them, get through another week. Or come back for Wednesday night, Bible study. Get them through the middle of the week, to the end of the week, so they can get back to church on Sunday. You continue to go through these things to make sure that you're prepared for where you're trying to go. And I think forgetting about our history is ridiculous, honestly.
And for me, the history is so rich, and history does have a way of repeating itself, but it also teaches us lessons. In history, our people went through some traumatic, terrible, horrible incidents, but what they did is they were able to overcome. So what history does is it provides us a blueprint for what we experience today so that it doesn't repeat itself. And I say that because the things that happened in the past, again, there was a strategy session. We talk about Rosa Parks, but Rosa Parks was chosen. She was selected. And so that's part of that strategy. And in terms of where we need to go and how we need to overcome the issues and the challenges that we're doing now, we can learn from that history. So I do agree that we don't need to dwell on it. We don't have to dwell on the past. I agree that we do need to set a path forward. But in order to set a path forward, you also have to understand where you came from. So that would be my piece on that.
Kevin says slavery, whether in a book or a movie, is a profit for the ones telling the story. Are you saying, Kevin, they're making a profit off of it?
Yeah, they're making a profit off of it.
Well, they're making a profit, but at the same time, it's an education to us all. I'm watching the Bass, the lawman, Bass, what's his name? Bass Reeves. Oh, yeah. I'm watching the lawman show right now, Bass Reeves. I want to say like the first African American, he wasn't a deputy. He was like a ranger, I want to believe. I haven't. I've watched like a couple of the shows.
But a lawman.
But he was a lawman. But I'm watching that, and I mean he was damn good at what he do. So I'm really impressed with that, and that's telling our history, and it's also helping me to understand, not surprised again. Our people are so talented. They did so many things. They created so many things. It's not a shock to me that, a black man was able to go out here and do all the things that he was able to do when it came to arresting bad guys, criminals. So I understand that it is a profit, but at the same time, it's helping us to understand some key people in our history that done some amazing things, and I'll never have a problem with that. Let's see.
I do agree with the comment about Jim Crow, and that
I think Jim Crow laws was worse than slavery.
I think
Hold on. Wait. Let me say this before you say that. I don't think that anything is worse than slavery.
Right.
Hold on. Ain't nothing worse than another man owning you.
Yeah.
James, you would not say that if you were a slave. You wouldn't have said that. If you were a slave, if somebody else owned you, bro, you would not say that. It's just like being a dog. It's like being an animal. It's like being a cow or something. You're owned by a person. They have papers on you. Like you're
not a human.
You are not your own person. You do not get to decide, I'm going to wake up and go for a walk this morning. No. You're going to wake up and do what master told you to do. You don't get to leave foot off that land because master tells you can't. No. Anybody that say anything is worse than slavery is only saying that because they have not been a slave. Anybody that gets to do whatever they want to do to you as a human, whoop your ass whenever they want to, take your ass whenever they want to, take your wife's ass whenever they want to, take your children and sell them from you whenever they want to, and finally kill you whenever they want to. If they get to do those things to you, James, it cannot be worse. Jim Crow laws were not good. I agree with you. But nothing is worse than being owned by another individual.
And I 100% concur with everything you said. I think what I interpreted from that is that the Jim Crow laws are still prevalent today, which is 100% fact. And so while slavery is illegal, and I'm not aware of any situation in 2024 where there are slaves. Of course, we know of sex trade.
Yes, we do.
We know of sex trade
and
on American soil.
That little white van that come by that ain't got no windows.
Right.
Keep your kids.
We know of it is illegal, but we know of the sex trade, and we know that is still happening on American soil. But I'm not aware of any legally places in America where slavery has happened. However, Jim Crow laws are absolutely 1,000% still prevalent to this day. Now, some people will say that prison, that whole being an inmate, is a part of slavery. Some folks might say that. I'm saying that I'm not aware of any legal ways to own a slave in the United States, but I have had debates where some people will come back and they would challenge me on that. And they were saying, well, if you look at the correctional system in America and how the prison system is set up, you now you turn in your name for a number. And you become now a number. And now you are out working.
They're creating goods in there.
You're creating goods.
Yeah.
You're creating products, and you're making literally pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
So some would argue and say, well, Candace, even though slavery may not be legal in our country, they have found a way around that through incarceration. And then you look at the incarceration rate, of course, you see that the marginalized community, African Americans, people of color, are more in prison than you have of the white population. So again, that can be a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree that when you talk about dividing and conquer, and you talk about the Jim Crow laws and how it was meant to come in and tear up the foundation of the black community, tearing up black family, I would say Jim Crow showed his ugly head during the crack pandemic. And I say that because it was a way to take away the black male out of the household, that's a whole other conversation.
That is.
But 100%, I do believe, and again, that is history repeating itself. The RICO laws.
Yeah, the RICO laws.
The crack cocaine, when you have crack versus having powder cocaine, that law, when you have crack, you have a heavier sentence in prison if you have crack versus cocaine. I was telling Coop about a series that I'm watching right now on Netflix called Painkillers, where it brought in OxyContin. And, in these series, and I'm just on episode 4, I believe it's a total of either 6 or 8 episodes, which I hope to be able to get back to that this evening. But I'm learning a lot in that series because it's based on truth. And the fact that OxyContin, when it was put out, it is heroin. Yeah. That is what it is. And that folks were being addicted to that at a higher rate than what they were even being addicted to crack cocaine. However, you had young blonde-haired, blue-eyed women who were just graduating from college. They were going and distributing and selling it to doctors as opposed to folks selling them on the corner. What made them any different? The difference is that you take, you have a system that created this. They were making people billionaires. A whole family became billionaires off of that. So when you talk about the Jim Crow law, it may not be called Jim Crow, but it is a way to be able to divide and conquer the marginalized, and I'm going to use the term marginalized community, because let's just be real, it's not just blacks and Latino. It's all sorts of different folks living in communities that have a lack of resources. In 2024, there is still communities in America that do not have clean drinking water.
Yeah.
Okay? And
Detroit just went through a whole bunch of water that was the same color as me.
100%.
Yeah.
I just talked about, us being in this Arctic blast, having a winter storm right now, and thank God we could afford to go to HEB, and grab the groceries that we need in order to be able to sustain our family. But you have a lot of households that are unable to do that because they're living check to check. And you're talking about, families of 4 to 6 people that are living in these homes and not having the opportunity to even be able to stock up. Yeah. So when you talk about Jim Crow laws, 100% they do still exist. Going to Jamie Mackey, and again, thank you, Jamie, for tuning in. You tend to tune in a lot, and we do appreciate that.
Yeah.
She says, my father was born in 1928. Can't go back past his parents. When I tell people why, sometimes they look at me like slavery here in America was 500 years ago. And when I went on Ancestry and traced back that tree, I tell you what, it was shocking that it wasn't too far away. When you talk about 6 generations ago, I could trace back to where, my ancestors were enslaved. That wasn't too far from it. Pamela Wade.
Pam.
Yeah. My aunt moved to Anchorage, Alaska to work as a teacher. She was the matriarch of the family and was a historian that taught me to be a proud black woman and have faith that all good things work together for my good. And here's what I will tell you. The reason that she went to Anchorage, Alaska was because she graduated from Houston-Tillotson College at the time and could not find a job. That was the only place that would employ her. So she had to go all the way from Texas to Anchorage, Alaska in order to find a job. And what she did is moved her family there. Cedric Alexander, shout out to you. He says, my family owned slaves and let them work it off to be free.
Wow.
My family owned slaves.
Wow.
And let them work it off to be free. Yeah. That is not a that happened often. That happened much often, because here's the deal: you're slaves one day. Y'all think about it. You're a slave one day. The next day you're free. Where do you go? What do? You don't own property. You don't have a job. You don't have land. You don't own anything. We never got the reparations that we were supposed to get. So where are you supposed to go? So that is not uncommon.
Wow.
James Cole says, I think you all are building the community through what you are doing. Thank you. That is the idea.
Appreciate it.
The track club you have is not just a track club. You guys are already using it to build. It's just a different form of doing a good job. You're teaching them leadership, discipline, hard work, consistency, and much more. That's wealth in itself. Those kids will understand and take off when they're mature, as they get older, because the foundations, they will think about what you taught them. I appreciate that. And I say that because I was just on the show last night and I talked about we are not just a track club. The track club is the disguise. what we are is we've created a village. We've created a group of adults who can now go in and feed into these children. And so I thank you for that comment, James, because wealth looks different. Wealth is not just about the money, okay? But it looks different. Chris Cooper, shout out to Chris Cooper in Tyler, Texas. I'm gonna let you take this one, Coop. That's your
Cooper
kinfolk.
Constructions, baby. First cousin. Kinfolk there.
Yeah.
Blood. That's blood right there. That's blood right there. That's family. That's family, man.
You guys, I was so impressed. He's built Cooper Settlement. Yeah, is it Cooper Settlement? What? No, he didn't build Cooper. Cooper Settlement is where you
Cooper
are.
Settlement is in the country.
I feel like it's a settlement because he's literally built a whole community. You know, you go into, it's gated, a gated community where you go in and you have his mom, he's built a home for his mother, and everyone who's in the community are all in Cooper homes, custom homes. And not only are they in custom homes, but they're all a part of a gated community. So when you talk about building community, he literally did that.
Well,
and
he's built homes. He's built that community. I know you talking about that community, but he's built homes all over Tyler.
Right.
But not just building homes. He's managed to give back in ways that I haven't seen anybody that I personally have spent a lot of time with give back. You know, giving back at the schools. Kristen went into those schools multiple times, and he takes the teachers and get the teachers tickets to games, and he's giving bikes, and he's giving all kind of gifts during Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I mean he car shows all the time. They get the proceeds to different things. So shout out to my cousin, man. They fed people during the holidays. I mean they just do a lot, man. Cooper Construction.
yeah.
You know that's. It's big time. He is a definite example of investing back into yourself and him and his wife.
And investing in other people, in other businesses, you know.
Yeah. And now they do it big. And he's a big Cowboys fan too. Hey, Chris, I know you feeling it today, man. He goes to a lot of the games. I don't want to go. He tells me all the time, Coop, come go with me. I honestly do not want to go. Because if I'm home, I can get over it easier. When I get up there, I'd be pissed. So I commend you, brother, for all that you do, and love you, man.
And he says, I'm a product of Odell Cooper.
He is a product of Odell
I rode
Cooper.
on that bus.
Look just like him.
A lot of days.
Look just like him.
Yeah. Literacy, Kevin McKnight, that is one word that is extremely powerful. Yeah. We have to be able to read. We have to be able to understand. You know, one thing is that, and I have to get this back, Coop, but, you know, I used to read so many books. It was so important for me to read. Some of them I didn't necessarily understand, but years later, they definitely made sense. Literacy is so critical for our community. Poor spending habits is a prime example of slave mentality. A lot of this mentality is in the South. My sister and I were only African Americans in the school building in Alaska, but didn't suffer any racism. We attended an African American church, and we were taught our history in the home. Denman, sorry about that. Demon, I didn't mean to mess up your name.
CKT, baby.
Bass Reeves was the black lawman that the Lone Ranger series was based on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Cofield says, if you don't know, but apparently teachers not of color are raising hell that they want more money to teach our children. It has been stated they were not brought into this world to teach our children to take over the world. Well, let me tell you something, and they need to get on out the classroom.
Yeah.
Because that is no place for them to be.
Yeah.
You will get arrested for mistreating an animal, but never arrested for killing, beating, and burning slaves.
Oh, shit. Come on, man. That's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. That's facts. When we sit there together, God damn. That is what she said something then. And it ain't gotta be slaves. We're still having a hard time, in the court system with people who are on video doing things to people of color. Illegal things, taking the law into their own hands and choosing to I guess to go police their neighborhoods. You know, we're still having a hard time with that today. And so when you put a person like 45 and everybody, people come talk to me about those kind of things. A lot of times I don't get into that conversation because I know what our people are looking at. You know, I hear it a lot of times. I made so much more money when 45 was in the office. Yeah. But, I have a major problem, guys, when all them flags start coming out on them trucks. When I start seeing them trucks riding down the road and all them Confederate flags are hanging on the back of them trucks and I know what's coming, guys. I know what's coming then. Them good old boys are getting bolder and bolder. Mm-hmm. They coming out the woodworks. And what you saw at that White House, see, the narrative has changed so much. The goalposts has moved so much. It's always been terrorists, them terrorists, how dare them terrorists. They all come together, against these terrorists, But oh my God, a man excites a riot on what's supposed to be the most protected place in America.
Right.
These people came over the fence like ants.
Climbing walls on
They came over the fence like ants.
Looking like Spider-Man.
Now, I need y'all, for all y'all that make all your decisions based off your finances, I need you to think about for a moment, just for one moment, if you live there and your children were in school away from you, and this riot on the White House was happening while you was at work and needed to get to your kids, or while your wife was away from you, or while your husband was out working construction in that area, or working police duty, street duty, or something like that in that area. I need you, wife. I need you, young teenage kids, young voting age, kids that might be in college that might see. I need you to think about if your dad was out there working those streets that day instead of some of those other guys. If your dad was the officer at that place that was supposed to be protecting that place when these people are riding and coming over that fence. I need you to think about that for a moment before you say it's all about your money and everything that you can do for you.
People died that day.
People died. And do you know people still tried to sweep this shit under the rug? See, because as long as the narrative fits what they want it to fit, they all for it. When it starts to go against them in a way, there's a misunderstanding. He didn't excite that. He didn't do it.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
They wanted it to be on him. Because they want what they want. Guys, if you are about what's right, you should be about what's right no matter what the circumstances are. And putting a person like that back into office goes against our people because it galvanizes these people. It unites them to create, because he won't speak against them. Because he know that's a big part of his. I don't even think he really cares about that shit. I don't think he cares. 45, Trump is about him. He's about him. I don't think he cares about us, but I don't think he cares about them either. No. He's about him. But what these people are doing is, hey, if he's not going to speak down on what we do, we're going to come together, and this is our chance. This is the chance for the good old boys to come back. It's our time. And your money can't be more important than peace and safety for our people. I'll always put our people over $1. And that's how I look at it. I mean, it's the way I look at it. I cannot accept, people like that being put back, because it takes us back. It takes us back because of what it does for those people that don't want us here anyway. Because there's still a lot of them here that don't want us here. And I think you put us in a bad situation when you got a person like that. I saw Pam earlier say that about Trump supposed to win the Iowa caucus tonight. Hey, it is what it is. Iowa, I mean, you know how it look out there, so I'm not shocked by that at all.
Let's see. Did we already read this comment? I can't remember if we read it. The schools and prisons are built with the exact same structure. It has been stated that if a child can't read past the 3rd grade level, that's where the children will end up because they won't be able to take care of their families or themselves. That is 100% factual. If your child has reached the 3rd grade and they are unable to read, it is said that they will probably end up in prison. And so I want y'all, that is a fact. That is a fact. And that has been stated. Now I've worked in 3 different school districts. And in all 3 different school districts is when I have heard that fact. Let's see here. Marlin, Texas also has a water crisis. I did not know that. So thank you for mentioning that.
Wow.
Fred Rayshawn Bryce says domestic terrorists. Yeah, they got all kind of stuff going on. They need to, but that's when it goes back to leadership. Yeah, it goes back to leadership and the importance of making sure that you have the right people in office in order to not just create policies, but also have the vision to be able to stand for the right cause and the right reason. It's time out, you guys. We got a lot going on. People are struggling. Folks are not in their right mind. Okay, let's be real. They're not in their right mind. And right now we need leaders to be leaders. We need folks that's going to stand in the gap for those of us who cannot be at the table. And what I mean by that is when you're given a seat at the table to serve, you are not to serve self, but you are there to serve people. And so it starts with leadership. It starts with common ground. It starts with us having conversations, platforms like this. It starts with us opening up those doors. For those of us who do make it, whether that means you make it to a place to where, you are a leader in an institution, or whether you make it to where you're an entrepreneur and you're doing well. It is important also that you learn to give back. Give back to those institutions that are doing well. Give back to those entities, those organizations that are trying to lead our next generation. Because we have to begin with our children. We have to begin. If our children are not educated and our children are not prepared, they will not be able to come behind us and continue to build on MLK's dream. And with that said, Coop, we're going to go into our final kind of thoughts. Because it is. Oh, I am doing mine. That was mine, so I'm done. Are you done?
You said it perfect.
All right.
You said it perfect.
Well, with that being said, you guys, it is 9:33. We stayed a little bit longer than anticipated. No matter where you are in the world, tuning in to us, we hope that you are safe. Please make sure that you stay warm. And also, please think about how you, in your own way, can continue to build on MLK's dream.
Look out for one another, guys. That's my thing. I mean, everybody got their own way of going about handling this, but look out for one another. Find a way to celebrate not only yourself, but those around you that look like you. All right?
All right,
y'all. We appreciate y'all. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Please like the show. If you got anything out of this show you think it's a beneficial show to the world, to your community, then like the show, guys, and please share it for us. We thank y'all, and we'll see you this Wednesday on Salute the Real.
Yes, all right. Bye now.